So, Mass Effect Remastered is coming out in what, a month now? Maybe a little bit over a month. It's coming out, and I've been like reading stuff about it. I ain't been like looking at the the clips and stuff that game things have been posting, but I did see a video. It was a Gamerangs video, and they was like, I think they're like showing like changes, like I guess they made a tier list of the changes that they saw already, and they like, I think they're ranking them, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. Definitely want to watch it and see what they did change. At least this wasn't a video, cause I mean I'm gonna play it, so I guess I'm gonna see what else. Everybody know the controversy with the Miranda shit. Like that's kind of dumb, but that's probably gonna be in the tier. That's probably gonna be on the list. I don't know. We about to watch this video. Uh, Hopefully I don't get copyrighted for it, but you know how YouTube go, and hopefully my audio is good, cause I don't wanna have to change
The
shit.
biggest trilogies of all time in video games is Mass Effect. And
I mean, yeah, that's
it's
facts.
getting a remake. But it's not going to be exactly the same as the Mass Effect you played years ago. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 are changing a lot, actually. We're going to detail the biggest ones today. Hi, folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game
Oh,
Ranks,
it's Falcon.
the 10 biggest
I mean, I like
changes
Falcon
in the Mass
videos.
Effect
I don't think I like
Legendary Edition. Starting off at number
what's
10,
the other one?
the visuals have gotten a major upgrade. All three games got a total visual overhaul, and they look way better. It's not just that the game will be running in 4K HDR at 60 frames per second on literally everything, but there are a number of
I mean, that's
really
good.
good-looking brand new effects, changing the presentation of this game to look like something significantly more modern. For instance, cinematics have been improved from Mass Effect 1, lighting has been greatly improved. In fact,
I mean,
nearly
yeah, that does
everything
look
from
hella good.
interiors to planet surfaces have been improved lighting-wise. Human teeth look way less creepy now. It's a minor but weirdly noticeable change, and it looks a lot better. They've added anti-aliasing, tone mapping, volumetric fog, bokeh adaptive field, subsurface scattering, and ambient occlusion. These are, of course,
Alright.
a bevy of
So
technical
graphical
terms,
overhaul.
but if you look at the difference, it's huge.
Yeah, now
A lot of the
that right
character
there,
models are
damn.
also getting a facelift, with more details or even slight tweaks to their design.
I mean, that
As
was
you
just
should
low res.
expect from this console generation, load times are being reduced. So, hey, guess what? You don't have to ride the elevator up and down for God knows how long. Texture resolutions
I
are
do
now
like
4
riding that
times
elevator,
bigger,
though.
thanks
I
to
liked it,
using
that part.
artificial intelligence upscaling, which, by the way, the textures look phenomenal. Some of them are actually 16 times larger, and you can tell. On top of that, there are a lot of new effects applied to various areas in the game to make them more atmospheric. One I'm noticing a lot of is the J.J. Abrams flare on a moon or a sun. It does add a lot, actually.
It said J.J.
And number
Abrams
9,
flare.
Mass Effect 1 is probably the game in most need of updating in terms of the entire series, and it is. Well,
They
let's
should've just
say
remade it.
Things are looking up.
I mean, that
Not
looks
just
good, though.
graphically speaking, because graphically it's really not that bad. It's getting the same kinds of upgrades as all the other games are. But mechanically speaking, this game is getting some much needed attention. For instance, they removed class-based weapon restrictions, which, if you remember, was fairly jarring if you played Mass Effect 2 first and then went back to the original. You still can't upgrade your skill with certain
That's
weapons
a
if they're not part of your
PlayStation
class
problem.
specialization.
See, why did they remove the RPG elements of an RPG? I mean, that was a legit PlayStation problem, bro. Because if you played Mass Effect 2 before Mass Effect 1, it was only because Mass Effect 1 was an Xbox game. And when Mass Effect 2 came out, that's after the EA buyout, and they bought BioWare and it made them multi-platform. So yeah, PlayStation didn't get Mass Effect 1. They had to play the little story game, like the Dark Horse thing, and then they had to play Mass Effect 2, which was the first game for a lot of people. So if you ever went back and played Mass Effect 1, like when the trilogy came out, like when they made the remastered trilogy and PlayStation finally got it, that was after 3 came out though. But come on now, bro. Like the class system, they did that in Mass Effect 2 as well. He talking like it wasn't in every fucking game. It wasn't in 3. I guess they had the weight system in 3. So like if you were like a biotic and you was using like a sniper rifle and assault rifle, like your powers were recharged slower. But bro, like the weapon restriction class system was the RPG element. Why the hell would they take that out? That's kind of tragic.
You can at least use them without the massive aim penalties you used to get. Inventory management is being improved. We don't know exactly how much. It sounds like they aren't completely reworking the inventory system, just making some minor improvements. But beyond that, squad AI is getting improved, so they'll take advantage of cover and more quickly respond to your orders. Enemy AI is getting updated. They should actually cover sometimes now instead of just running directly at you when they see you. So
I mean, yeah, the AI was kind of dumb, Mass Effect 1. But I mean, it was an
First
old
aid
ass game. It was like
cooldowns being improved,
2003.
You'll probably recover faster, which is great. There's a dedicated melee button, which was ridiculous that there wasn't. They fixed a ton of bugs, a ton of animation glitches, and most importantly, let's be serious here, the Mako is easier to control and is gonna make planetary
There was
exploration
nothing
a
wrong
lot
with
more
the
tolerable,
Mako.
just for that. The HUD has been changed to match Mass Effect 2's HUD. Uniforms have been
Trash.
updated. They are not backporting the updated character models from Mass Effect 2 and 3 for your companions. They're just going to update them so they look better. So, for example, Mass Effect 1 Liara looks like how she looked in the first game, not like the sequels. A noteworthy one, though, in the original Mass Effect, guns never ran out of ammo, and they'd simply overheat if you fired them too much. This was changed to thermal clips in the sequels, which basically
Which is fucking
amount
trash.
to ammo clips with a different name. Many people wondered if these thermal clips would replace the overheating mechanic in the first, but it doesn't look like that's the case. Looks like
That's good.
overheating is still in the game. A lot of changes to like the Mako, though. It's one of those things in Mass Effect 1 that definitely needed improving too. It has better targeting and handling in general. Camera controls are smoother. Physics have been
It was
updated to
already
make it
good.
feel a little more heavy and hopefully make it so it's not floating all over the place like in the original. The environments you explore have all
Did he just say the Mako's not floating like in the original? Bro, the Mako had a gyro freaking core in it. That's why it floated around, and that's why it never landed on its back. Because the gyrosphere core thing that it had, and it was, read the fucking codex entry, bro. Like, the Mako was built like that for a reason. That's why it floated like that. And like when you jump, that bitch fucking float in the air. You can like thrust up. Why would they change that to make it feel more like a car? That's why people didn't like the rover from what is it called? From, goddamn, it's right there. From Andromeda. Goddamn, I forgot the name. That's why people didn't like the car from Andromeda, because it just felt like a fucking car. You're just driving around a car. The Mako was a fucking floating tank driving thing. I mean, I don't like that they're changing it. That's kind of sad. But all right.
also seen an update, but we do not know exactly how much of one, at least yet. It sounds like they'll be adding more details, maybe change the layouts. Some of the more sparse planets out there were really tedious, and it seems like they'll be targeting that, but to what extent exactly, I don't know. At number 8, gameplay is being enhanced for the entire trilogy, not just the first. Squad AI particularly is being improved across
You already
the
said
board.
that.
There are numerous instances in this game of broken AI pathing. They want to just eliminate that from the experience altogether. They're also adding new cover spots for certain encounters.
Why
The
would they
autosave system
change
is
that?
going to be more consistent, so hopefully you won't be restarting an entire planet if you forget to
Oh,
save.
yeah, the
Boss
autosave system
encounters
back then. But
are
that's how
being
old games
enhanced
were.
in some way. We know they're doing it for Mass Effect 1 at least, but it's not really clear what they mean and if they mean it for the entire trilogy, but I'll take it. The interactive comic you could play before Mass Effect 2 that let you make a new character and select all the major decisions from Mass Effect 1 is included in the package, and you can skip it if you want to. It's possible to import your appearance settings from the original games into the Legendary Edition. In the original games, you had to finish the game once in order to unlock the hardest difficulty. This has been removed from the Legendary Edition, so
I
if
mean,
you wanna
that's
just
fine.
get destroyed from right at the start, like, go for it. They've made some of the morality checks less strict, so you don't necessarily have to play full Renegade or full Paragon if you want
All
to
right,
see some
now
of these
that
dialogue.
why? Why change that? Why break your own system to cater to more kids? Like, come on now, bro. Like, you should play the role you choose if you want to say things like that. How you gonna less stricken the freaking morality checks? Like, if you're an evil ass nigga and you want to say a good thing, you shouldn't have been fucking evil. Like, bro, you should definitely. They should have kept that the same. Why did they change that? It's just small changes
about
like
them.
that. I'm like,
Regarding
why?
mod support, though, the trilogy and Mass Effect 2 in particular has a number of popular mods, and some wonder how difficult it will be to transfer those mods into some of the updated versions of the game. At the moment, it's unclear. The game director says that the Legendary Edition will be most like Mass Effect 3, which was much more difficult to mod than the previous two games. At number 7, there is not going to be multiplayer in these games. The project director said they chose to focus on the single-player elements of the series, and
I mean,
thank
yeah, they
you,
just wanted to
project
redo the
director.
story
Good
because they announced
choice.
another one.
Honestly, like, I don't have anything against the Mass Effect multiplayer, but I certainly did not get into it. Like, the single player is the reason you play a Mass Effect. Am I wrong? Now, that is not to say that it is everyone's opinion. Like, the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer is still being played today. It
Yeah,
is
it
one of
does.
the
I
most
play it.
popular elements of the game, but it would also necessitate a mass amount of like cross-play programming, and it would really limit the kind of improvements they could possibly bring to the multiplayer
what would
mode.
crossplay
And
programming have
most
to do with
importantly,
anything?
they
It didn't have
wanted a
crossplay in it.
cohesive experience for all three games, so they felt like it was the path of least resistance to just not include it. I think fair. It'd be cool if maybe later they released like a standalone Mass Effect multiplayer. I wouldn't be shocked if they did create some sort of free-to-play Mass Effect multiplayer element. I mean, sometimes when you
I mean,
see
that would
this
probably
kind
be
of thing
shitty.
happen in a remaster, they're telegraphing that kind of a move, and I wouldn't be upset if that was the case. Readiness has been adjusted. If you remember in the original Mass Effect 3, the galactic readiness score would affect the ending of the game, and part of how you could increase that score was through playing the included multiplayer. Now, since that's obviously out,
See, that was false as fuck. Galactic Readiness had zero things to do with multiplayer. Not a goddamn thing. Of course, you could play multiplayer and get your Galactic Readiness up, but it had zero effect on any part of the game in Mass Effect 3. Zero. Like, yeah, it says 50% all the time. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. You just play the single player. You can, because the multiplayer maps were based in those galactic spots fighting the Reapers. So if you played those multiplayer maps, you got to like platinum or something. Like those parts of the map that you conquered in multiplayer would be blue. It'd be 100% yours. You won that region back. So at the end of the game, you would like conquer the whole galaxy back, and you just go fight at Earth. But even if you didn't do none of that, like you still complete the game and go to Earth and beat it, and everything would still be the same, even if you did the multiplayer or not. It had nothing to do with that. Galactic Readiness was just a a thing. It was just a thing in the game, so people played multiplayer to like add something, because like you can bring your freaking multiplayer characters from multiplayer to the main game to like fight, even though you won't see them, you won't hear them, but they would add to your overall, like, what do you call it, like army, to retake Earth, the retake Earth army. Like they had that little bar on the, he probably showed the war table bar, but the Galactic Readiness was not the same as the fucking war table bar.
with the Legendary Edition, they've taken time to rebalance how that works, so it's possible to get the best ending without playing multiplayer, just by playing the entire trilogy and making
You never
multiplayer
had to play
right
multiplayer.
choices, or just by playing Mass Effect 3 and doing absolutely everything. At number 5, they've created a new unified
You never had to
character
do
grid.
nothing.
Now, that's
You just
really
played the
good,
game.
because if you remember, like, there was some weirdness. No longer. All of the enhancements that Mass Effect 3 got have been backported all the way back to Mass Effect 1, so your character can look exactly the same in all 3 games. And like things like the female Shepard design that was finalized in Mass Effect 3 is now in all 3 of the games. They've also taken the time to upgrade her face model somewhat. There's also new options regarding stuff like skin tones, makeup, hairstyles.
I mean,
with the new launch,
now that stuff I can understand, because yeah, those games were made in different times. They were from 2003 to like 2007 to like 2010. Like, of course, technology progressed so far, and the character models, the engine it was built on, all of that changed. So of course the characters didn't fucking look the same going through the games, even though you wanted them to. So when you play Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, your character, the model, like the face model, would change because some of the options were changed because of the years that went past, the engine that changed, and the graphics overall. Like they took some of the pieces out. So your character would never look exactly the same. It would get as close as possible. Have the game like had a little code, and you type that code in, and that code would create a face. So people would be like online, like sharing their codes to make their face in your Mass Effect game. And I guess they're taking that out and they just like making a fluid transition between games, which is good. Like people would like that, especially if you get in all three games and you just gonna get to play through all three of them. That's a smart move. Like a good
Of
change.
the Legendary Edition, you create a profile for all 3 games and then select a game. They haven't turned it into one big game or anything. You still select which game you want to play. The Xbox version even allows you to install or uninstall each game separately. So if you don't want to play one and you don't want to have it installed, that is perfectly fine. It is
I mean, I'm
possible
getting it to
import
play
your
one.
appearance settings from the original games into the Legendary Edition. They even added a code importer for the first Mass Effect, but because of significant changes to the character creator in that game, certain codes don't work very well. This may be an issue that's ironed out in the future, though.
I mean, yeah, the code
almost
thing.
all DLC and add-ons are included. Pretty much every general DLC, the story DLC, all the alternate costumes, all the weapons, all the armor, all of that stuff is in the game.
The Reckoning
That's cool
armor.
because there's
Let's
some
go.
Pretty insane content in terms of DLC.
The Dragon
into
Age
the
armor,
story
that shit
and
was nice.
characters of the Mass Effect trilogy. But there is one loss here. Pinnacle Station for Mass Effect 1 is not in the game because its original source data was corrupted when BioWare was working on it for the PS3. Sucks, but I suppose like
The original
also not
source
the
code
worst
got
one
broken
to
working on the
knock out,
PlayStation
to
3
be
version.
completely
Fucking
honest.
dead.
At number 3, certain
Pinnacle Station
quote-unquote
sometimes
gratuitous
doesn't work on
scam shots have
Xbox,
been cut
too.
from the game. It's a minor one, but project director Mac Walters said during an interview that certain camera shots were altered somewhat. It seems to be related.
He said
to
it's a
some of
minor
the
one.
butt shots
Why
that
change
are
it? Why
seen
did they
from
have it
time
in
to
there in
time
the
Mass Effect
first
2.
place if they're going to just take her ass out of the camera shots? Why did y'all even put those in the first place? Come on now. Come on now. It was in there. Why take it out? Y'all could have just high res the fuck out of it. Everybody would have loved it. Put some creases in there. You know, add some texture to this shit. It would have been great. But no, they like, oh, we're just going to change camera angles. Why even have them in there in the first place, bro? You're going to give us camera angles and then take them away because you want to resell your game? No, that's not a minor change, bro. That's like you really like just remake that fucking game then. Just remake it. Don't remaster it. Remake that bitch if you want to change shit like that.
Like, apparently they're not altering any animations or models, but they are simply changing the camera angle to take the focus off certain things. I'll say I'm not really too personally affected by this, but there are
I mean,
lot of
nobody's
people wanting to
personally
get
affected.
into
It's
this
just the
game,
thought.
And I could see this being like a major outrage.
It
At number
is.
2, there's some
Even
pretty
though it's
big
not a
PC
big deal, it
improvements.
is a
First,
major
graphics,
outrage.
and then otherwise. First off, it is going to support DirectX 11. It will have unlocked frame rates, which is probably one of the things that most people who are talking about playing this game on a modern computer are thinking. But another big one that is really good is they are including support for ultra-wide monitors. They are not including ray tracing, but they are including the next best thing, real-time dynamic reflections, which is very cool. I very much look forward to seeing how that is implemented.
I mean, I'm not gonna play it on PC, so I don't really care about
improvement
that.
that
I mean,
think
if
is
they have
particularly
that on the
nice for
Xbox
PC
version,
users, because this is
like
at
my
its
Series
core
X gonna
a
have it, then it's
console game.
fine.
On the PC, it will have full controller support, and that's a big one.
I mean, that
because
shouldn't
of the
fucking
way that
change.
a lot of the menus and like weapon selection and moves are used in this game. It is designed for a controller. And
It was
at
designed
number
for
one,
an Xbox.
obviously, it's not the PC, but consoles are going to see a major improvement. That might be a quality of life thing that's probably more important than real-time dynamic reflections. It's not console specific. Like, you're not going to see this game making use of the DualSense controller or anything like that. But if you recall, both the new Xbox and the new PlayStation have these incredibly fast SSD drives in them. So along with obviously improved visuals and 60 frames per second frame rate, you are going to see massive improvements to load times. And I personally am just beyond excited.
I mean, that's good
Lightning
though.
quick load times in Mass
Because like if
Effect,
it's gonna
and
get a
this was
patch to
probably
load
one of
faster,
the worst elements of the entire
then
trilogy, it is just
it's
an
gonna be good.
immediate priority in my mind.
Some of
Now
these
you
gifts
get
are
an
hot.
option in the menu to either favor quality or favor frame rate, so you can choose between resolution or frame rate. Though at the moment we're not entirely certain what these options specifically change. Quality is probably 4K resolution, while frame rate is uncapped. And I cannot wait to play this game without those load times. That's all for today on the
I mean,
Mass
it doesn't
Effect
take that long to load
Legendary
anyway. Like
Edition.
backwards
Are you
compatible
excited
version
to
loads
play this?
fast.
I am beyond excited to jump back into the.
I mean, that's cool. That's cool, but come on now. Some of those changes, I'm like, just why? I mean, for people that didn't get to play it in all its glory, like originally, like legit Mass Effect 1, then I mean, they not gonna see any change. But then I played this shit like too many years ago. So I'm gonna notice all the changes when I play the game. I'm gonna probably upload it because I'm already halfway through Mass Effect 3. So I mean, I can finish Mass Effect 3 definitely before the 14th remastered Mass Effect 1. I'm probably gonna start uploading that when it comes out. But yeah, some of that shit they didn't even change. Like camera angles, why? Why even change it? When you the one put it in there. You gave us those shots. All the screenshots all over the internet. BioWare gave those to us. They were a gift to the community. And now they're taking it back. They should give us new camera angles.